So to start out, my name is Jacqueline Gilkey. I am the support manager here at VenueNext. Myself and my team are going to be the first line of communication that you guys reach whenever you write into our support desk or are in need of support during your events. Our support email address is help@venuenext.com. We will also be launching phone lines moving into the beginning, if not the middle of October. So you will now be able to give us a call or also ask us questions on a chat if you run into support issues. If at any point you are in a live event and you need support, I know an email address might sound not, very conventional. Please know that the email that you send goes to a live channel and notifies about 40 individuals in VenueNext. So you will get an immediate response. If it is something that is urgent that requires a support technician to call you, just say, hey, this is urgent. Here's my phone number. Please call me. And you'll get a call likely within at least 10 to 15 minutes maximum, if not more like 5 to 10 minutes. So as I begin, I'm assuming that everybody on this call is using or about to use our full service point of sale. Do any of you guys have full service point of sale currently deployed at your property? Okay. Are any of you guys getting full service point of sale within the next few weeks? So you're trying to at least get a jump start onto training so you can better understand what you're about to start using at your property. But this is probably the first time that you're seeing full service point of sale. Go ahead and raise your hand if you are seeing this for the first time today, but we'll be using it. Okay. Perfect. So to get started, our full service point of sale is really, I would say, the casual service equivalent point of sale wise. So, for restaurants, or if you're trying to start tabs, maybe at a bar, or a lot of our premium customers use this. The difference between full service point of sale and quick service point of sale is just that. So full service point of sale, the server greets the table, places the order, and maybe the service or the encounter with that guest lasts more than 5 minutes. Where at a concession stand, you're almost turning and burning people to, go through the line, make sure you're hitting your queue times. So this is just going to be how you can keep the checks open and give that table service that those guests are accustomed to. So as you can see on my screen, there is a register device QR code. The register device QR code is not going to show up every single time. However, in the one or really the few instances that you see it, all you need to do is scan it with your camera. And obviously this will be for your environment specifically. So if you ever walk up to your point of sale and you see this, all you do is you take out your phone, you scan it with your camera, and you're going to log in with your Canopy credentials. You're basically just going to acknowledge that, yes, this device is supposed to be in this location pointing to my venue, and it is not an imposter. It is not supposed to be here. So all you do when you go in and scan is you're going to select your organization. Here at VenueNext, we refer to venue names or team names as organizations. So if you are with Toyota Center, for example, in Houston, you're going to see Toyota Center pop up for your organization name. If you are at the Orlando Magic, you're going to see the Orlando Magic. And then you're just basically going to select the venue that you're at. There are no other options that you're going to see. It's going to just be specific to your specific organization. So if anybody at this point might have been following along with me and have scanned this QR code, you're probably seeing the Orlando Magic, because this is going to be where I'm testing today. I do have a test site that I use for these demos. So in this instance, if you did follow along, you would see your property's information instead of the Orlando Magic's. So I just registered my device. And you're going to see in just a moment that it's going to refresh. If for some reason it doesn't refresh and bring you to the next page, you can go ahead and select done. It takes about, I would say, 1 minute to 2 minutes maximum. So if you notice it just refreshed, I did not click on anything on my screen. But basically it's letting me access the full service point of sale. The next thing I want to point out is the device type or select device type. Notice that it says tabs POS. Tabs is the equivalent to full service point of sale. So as you interact with our team, or as you go through the full service point of sale to play around or get things situated, it is expected to see tabs POS when you get to the screen. If for some reason, and I'll pull up an example of this, literally on the example website, ironically, if for some reason you get into your point of sale, oh, I'm in kiosk mode here. Give me 1 second. This is not anything that you need to know for full service point of sale. So I promise I'm not trying to confuse anybody. So we're on the same page. So full service point of sale, you should only see tabs POS. If for some reason you ever get to this part or you look at your device and you see concessions POS or kiosk, email the help desk immediately so we can switch out your point of sale. This traditionally happens for a number of reasons, whether it's the device was somehow moved into quick service mode, or maybe you somebody requested to use it as a kiosk, but now you want to move it to another revenue center. If you guys are in the habit of moving your point of sale, so maybe you guys have tablets, and sometimes you use the handhelds for portable bars for concerts on concessions. Well, obviously, quick service point of sale would make more sense for a concessions-based setting versus opening a tab and, you know, adding things. Obviously, unless you're doing more of like a bar situation where it's a true bar where people are able to set tabs. But if you are cross-utilizing your devices and you need it to be switched to quick service point of sale from full service, you need to let us know so we can switch that configuration. The reason why we have it broken out between these two options and then the one you're seeing here is to prevent human error. Because as much as we all love to say it would never happen, let's be honest, you get the one server or employee or supervisor who might be going a little too fast and they click the wrong thing. Or you get the one server or supervisor who's a little adventurous that, you know, accidentally changes things. So that's why we split this out the way we do with full service point of sale, because we also understand that this is a completely different point of sale configuration than quick service or kiosk. If you've got a device that you plan to flip-flop between the different service types, all you need to do is email us at help@VenueNext.com and say, hey, I need device ID, and then you'll provide that device ID. I'll show you where to find it. Can you move this to quick service, or can you move this to full service? It will take us about, I would say about 20 minutes to do. Please don't send us like 50 devices right before doors. Try to be proactive if you do plan to move your devices between locations. Give us at least a day if it's 50 devices. If it's 1 or 2, and we all understand, you know, all of a sudden your client comes to you and says, hey, by the way, I want a portable bar on the floor for the Luke Combs concert tonight, then obviously, yeah, we get that and we understand too. So now that I've gone through the different device types and I've gone through the QR code, the next step with tabs POS or full service point of sale is selecting tabs and hitting next. Here you can select your menu. So if you have a premium club that is going to obviously be on full service point of sale, you will find the location name and select the menu. Once you do that, you hit done. You will be requested to log in once you choose your configuration. This is expected behavior because you want to obviously never want to log in and have it and place an order in somebody else's user account. But you also, when you're changing a configuration, you want to solidify the fact that, yes, I'm going into a new location. So when I put my passcode in and I sign in, I'm now brought into that point of sale location that I selected. So you'll see the location name at the top left-hand side. The other thing I advise, if you are just, say you've got 5 premium locations or you've got 3 restaurants and the devices float between the different restaurants based off of staffing needs. Maybe there's one restaurant that'll be busier than another, so you pull a tablet over there. Always, and I recommend having your servers be trained on this, make sure they double check they're in the right revenue center. It's really easy to accidentally forget to configure the revenue center to a new location name. So before they start ringing things in or kick things off, I would request that they double check that the name at the top left-hand side is right. If it's wrong, so maybe I'm supposed to be somewhere else, we call this the Hamburger Menu. If you ever write into the support desk, we reference it as the Hamburger Menu. Really, it's 3 lines. So if you think about a bun and a patty, if you tap on this, it's going to give you all of your options. So whenever you write in, you say, hey, I need to do this, we'll say, hey, tap the Hamburger Menu and follow, XYZ step. This is that Hamburger Menu we're referencing. So I'm a server. I'm realizing that I have the wrong point of sale pulled up. Oh no, what am I going to do? First step is tap that Hamburger Menu. The next step, go to configuration. From here, I'm brought back to this page. If I hit next, I can go to my new menu. So if I'm supposed to be in a different location completely, then I can tap that location and hit done. I'm going to have to relog back in. But now, if you notice, I am in a completely different location with a completely different menu. So it's that easy and that quick to change menus. But if you notice, there's a couple steps to it. So you can't find somebody and accidentally see that Jerry accidentally hit configuration and tapped a menu. You've got about 2 steps. And you have to hit done specifically. So I could click everywhere. I'm clicking all over my screen right now. I have to hit done specifically. So the human error aspect, even though obviously, let's be honest, there's some things that my old servers used to do that blew my mind when it came to micros. It gives you a little bit more added security to know that there's more steps than just tapping a menu and somebody accidentally putting their handheld in their pocket and having it go to a different revenue center without them knowing. Now that we are in the point of sale, you can see your orders. So I'm a server, even though I'm logged in with a manager number, my orders are going to be all of my orders. So if I've got 10 tables that I've taken for the night and all 10 tables are open, I'm going to see all 10 tables. Now, maybe your restaurant, if it's a premium club, all the servers obviously work together, and table 5, which is not in my section, waves me down and asks for a glass of wine. And I know that me, the server that is in charge of table 5, might be in the weeds or running around and doing different things. Managers, for you guys too. Maybe you're walking tables and all of a sudden you get flagged down and somebody wants another glass of wine. All you can do is you can go to all orders when you log in and you can find that table based off of the table number, or if it's a bar tab, then you could do the guest last name. And I'm going to show you how you can do that in just a moment, but I wanted to at least identify the difference between all orders and my orders. So my orders, that is the server's orders. All orders, that is all of the orders in the revenue center. You also have the ability to show your closed orders and also your open orders. So if I had 10 tables and 9 of my orders are in a closed state, or heck, I was a bartender and I served 50 people today and 50 of my tabs are closed. 48 of my tabs are closed and 2 of my tabs are open. I don't have to filter through all of the closed orders. I can go ahead and toggle show closed off. So right now I am not showing my closed orders, but if I needed to research all of my orders, maybe I have to add in tips, maybe I have to reconcile or reopen a chat. If I toggle show closed, I can see all of my closed orders and check them from the list. We will also go through this in just a moment. And then last but not least, that search option. So when I said, hey, you can look up by table number, this is where I could look up by table number or customer name. And we will see that in just a moment. So going into the flow. So I am a server. I'm going to select new order. And here I'm going to ring in all of my items. The categories at the top, if you notice when I click on a category, they're different colors. So orange, NA Bev, so bottled soda. Juice. Juice is yellow, the icon is yellow. Rum is brown, the icon is brown. The other thing I want to point out is look how big this menu is. That's a lot of items for a server to have to fiddle through. So there are 2 ways, especially for you guys, where if you have an extensive beverage list or menu, You can either go by category. So if I know that my customer is ordering a wine by the glass, I can tap it, wine by the glass, and I can see all my wine by the glass options. I don't know why they think hot dogs are wine by the glass, but let's go for it. The other thing that I can do is use the search bar. So if I knew that I wanted a glass of Chardonnay, see what happens when I type in Chard? My Chardonnay options are now showing. So when I scroll through the menu, none of my other Chardonnay options, well, there's no Chardonnay options here, but everything is grayed out. Now watch what happens when I type in dog. My hot dog is the only thing that's highlighted. So there's a quick search option here where if you needed to figure out your beer, so let's go back to rum. Actually, not by category, apologies. I thought that they had Captain Morgan rum labeled. So Sailor. So if I did Sailor Jerry, it brings me to Sailor Jerry. So bringing things in. If I am doing a giant gourmet pretzel, a wrap, a bottle of Chardonnay, a water, and Jack Daniels. Notice what happens when I click on my Jack Daniels. I have the ability to do my mixers. So for those of you guys that are planning out your menus right now, maybe we're doing your site survey or you're filling out that form. What we recommend when it comes to modifiers for servers for full service is obviously, you know, if you're bringing in a drink for the bar to make, like, so Jack Daniels, you could have the server be prompted if they want it neat, if they want it on the rocks, if they want to make it a double, and then the different mixers. So I, as a server, I could say, okay, I want my Jack Daniels with cranberry juice. I'm more of a Jack and Coke person myself, but cranberry juice it is. When I add it here, it'll show my modifier here. Now, for those of you guys that are using Expedite or a way to fulfill it, so obviously, you know, I'm placing an order as a server, but how does my bartender in the service bar know to make it? We would use Expedite for that. So Expedite is like I would say the equivalent to using bar printing in Expo. So I place the order, it goes to Expedite. For those of you guys that are interested in learning more about Expedite, I do have a training on this later on this week. I recommend joining it because we go through the full order flow and the steps and the processes, all of it. So you can really better visualize the back end process of it. But basically this will print out on a ticket at the bar and a ticket for food if you're using fulfillment, and your kitchen will then go and make the items and your bartenders will then start building the beverages or pulling the wine and getting the glasses ready. So when they're looking at it, it does not print in color. So it's not gonna be all color coordinated for the kitchen and the bar, but you are gonna see this giant gourmet pretzel 1. Notice what happens, and I'm just tapping on it and I'm adding another couple of them to it. I'm hitting done. The quantity here is 4. I don't see 4 giant gourmet pretzels itemized. That is going to be how it prints in your kitchen. So if you are looking at using Expedite, this is going to be what your kitchen will see. They will see giant gourmet pretzel 4, and they will know to make 4 pretzels. It's not itemized. But if you scroll down here to Jack Daniels, your bartender will see Jack Daniels with cranberry juice. So they'll know it's a Jack with cranberry juice that needs to be added to it. There is not an open modifier option. So if I wanted to type in a novel about how my customer only wants one single ice cube, but the ice cube needs to be in the shape of a triangle and nothing else, you're going to have to go see that bar. Or you could do a C server option. And what I would say by C server is this would say C server and you would check it. And then I, as the bartender, would know that the server is going to come talk to me about their order. You can also bring it in without it and just do it neat. But this is going to be how we recommend building out your modifiers. If you're building this for your servers, think about, okay, the item, the mixers, how do you want it? Do you want it straight up? Do you want it on the rocks? And any other strange things you might see, you know, garnishes. You obviously don't want to write a novel here, but if you're trying to figure out, okay, what mixer is going with crown, then this would make the most sense for a server situation. Obviously, if it's a bartender thing, they're ringing it in and they already know what the modifiers are. Unless you're tracking the modifier, you really probably don't need to add it. But that is going to be what it looks like when there is a modifier. You could prompt it. So let me see if there's a food item on here. So if I'm, talking about food, maybe this food slider or the slider itself comes automatically with frizzled onions and chili or something, and you want to give the server the ability to say no frizzled onions, no chili, then you would make the modifier as no frizzled onions and no chili on that site survey, or when you're building it in Canopy. Or if you want it to be more like, okay, here's my baseline, it's a slider, and are you adding all of the toppings that we offer with it, or you're removing it? So it's up to you if you want to do an add remove situation when you're building out the menu for full service. But what we're seeing with the alcoholic beverages here is going to be what it looks like to the server. Just pretend that instead of it saying mixer, it says add frizzled onions or remove frizzled onions. I'm going to take some of this off because I don't want to freak anybody out. So 4 gourmet pretzels and a Crown Royal wearing cranberry juice. I'm sorry, a Crown Royal with cranberry juice. Sorry about that. You have the ability to do pay now. From here, the customer, if you are taking cash, can pay cash. The cash button cannot be removed. If you guys, I know with COVID, cash became something that, hey, maybe we shouldn't take this. Because most of our customers kind of are on the fence. So it's some take cash, some don't. There's not a way for us to just remove the cash button for certain customers and not the others. I know there is conversation surrounding this cash button. So if you do have further questions about removing the cash button functionality, contact your account managers or write into us at help@VenueNext.com and say, hey, I have a question about this cash button. They will be able to give you more clarity on where we stand with it and what next steps are, if we have something in development or what we're still vetting out on our side. Mobile wallet. Mobile wallet is a very unique feature. It's my personal favorite one. If you select mobile wallet, you're brought to a QR code. From there, your customer can scan the QR code, whether they're logged into their VenueNext web account or with their mobile app, and pick up the check. So all of a sudden, that QR code, if it's scanned, is going to turn into a mobile order. So it's called Rich Checkout. That's what we dub it as on our side. So if you ever are interested in it, use the words Rich Checkout. Even though you would think it was scan and pay, we actually have scan and pay as something completely different. So Rich Checkout, the order starts on the point of sale. Maybe you've got tablets. So your server's got a handheld. They select that mobile order or Rich Checkout. The customer scans the QR code. They are now looking at this order on their device as a mobile order. So it would look, their checkout screen will look exactly like, let me show you. So this is what the customer will be seeing when they scan it. So I'm scanning my mobile order. I'm brought to this page. If you notice, I haven't paid. Neither has your customer. So your customer is looking at the soda and the items on there. So going back to our example where we got the 4 pretzels and the Crown Royal, you would see 4 giant pretzels, 1 Crown Royal with cranberry juice. From here, they could add the tip or put in a different amount. They would see their taxes if you have service charges, if you don't, and then the overall total. From here, they'd put their information in. If they have virtual currency, we are doing a training on that next week, but basically properties have the ability to award different types of in-house cash. So an example, I'm a season ticket holder. So with my season tickets, I got awarded $1,000 in court cash or BuzzBucks or Magic Money, you could use your virtual currency here. So that would be a use case for the rich checkout flow. The other thing is if I was logged in to my account and I was a season ticket holder, it would acknowledge that I was a season ticket holder and give me my discounts. Or if I had a promotion code, I could put in a promo code. Maybe you guys are running 50% off of giant pretzels pre-game. I could put in my pretzel promo code here and get my discount. So there's a couple cool things you can do with rich checkout, but like I said, we haven't checked out yet. And this is literally what your customers see when they scan this QR code. So and I'm going to scan this with my phone and you'll see what it looks like. So I'm scanning it. Sorry, let me pull up my wallet. It had me log into my Ticketmaster account really fast. Mobile order or the scan and pay is going to work when you're logged in. If you're not in your app, or even in your app, you have to be logged in. So I'm scan and pay. So on my phone, I am literally scanning this QR code. This is my fault. I just blocked my camera. Technical difficulties. I apologize. All right, I just unblocked my camera. Normally you don't block your camera before you scan a QR code. Probably not the best idea. I promise it doesn't take this long for a customer to do it. It's just when it's Monday. So notice it does the check mark when it's scanned. Now I am literally looking at the order on my phone. So my phone literally looks just like this. Notice though, I'm going to sit here and talk for another minute. This is not going to change until the customer finishes placing the order. Just because your servers and you see this does not mean it's done because it has yet to be processed. So I'm sitting here right now, staring at my phone, staring at my order, adding in my tip, and opting to either use my Magic Money or my credit card. If the screen does not change, but the customer puts their phone away, operationally, it's up to you guys on how you can tactfully ask the customer this question, but request to see the customer's confirmation page. What you need to see is this. It might say order received, it might say completed, but this is going to be the page that your server should see if the transaction was properly placed. So if I completed this transaction just now, it's still sitting in my cart, then, and it didn't change, I would say, hey, do you mind if I just see your confirmation page really fast? And they want to see this. Some of our customers preface their fans ahead of time, like, hey, if you're going to use rich checkout, I will have to see the confirmation page. So that way they already know that they're not just going to close it out on their phone when they're done. However, once you complete that order, so I'm going to go in and complete my order. Actually, I'm going to abandon this so you can see what this looks like. If it's completed, it'll bring me all the way back to here. I've just abandoned it, so I'm hitting none. Look what this does. See how this shows that it's anonymous, unknown, subtotal is 0, and there is an exclamation point here. This is also a very clear sign that the customer did not check out when you guys hit done. So I'm a customer, I'm saying, oh, I paid. If I don't have a confirmation page and you hit done, this is also a clear indication that my order didn't go through. Now, even though the order started out on the point of sale, it's going to be picked up and turned into a mobile order. So when I close out of here, I'm not going to see an open order for this pay now transaction because the customer didn't complete it. It's sitting here on my phone and you've closed out of it. So in those situations, you would have to re-ring that customer back in. So if I want to say, okay, well, unfortunately, Jacqueline, like I don't see that it went through. A way that a customer can also confirm is by going to their orders. I recommend being on the loyalty call so you could further learn that just what you're looking for when it comes to the mobile wallet. But the customer has a way of not having proof of that order or having proof of the order after they close out. So if I were to place the order, so I'm just going to get a water. I'm going to go to pay now. I'm going to go back to mobile wallet. When I'm in my mobile wallet and I go to do my scan and pay, refresh back in here. I'm scanning it. So now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pay for it. See? That is the difference when a customer completes the order versus when they don't. Mobile pay, you see that I paid $5 for it, and I have a completed image on my device. So the first example, order did not go through. The customer did not finalize the transaction. The second example, me as a customer, I finalized this transaction. So I can view the receipt. You can see where I paid. You can print the receipt if you needed to. So handhelds, this would be these guys use handhelds for this location, but you'd be able to select the printer to print to. So if it's the printer on my hip, I could do that. I can also email a copy of it to the customer. So I could say, okay, I'm going to email Jacqueline at VenueNext.com, a copy of the receipt, email sent. You can either close out or hit done. So if I go to my closed orders, I'm still not going to see it because it was a mobile order. But if I were to look at who got the tip and everything, you would see where it began and who and reporting. If you want to learn more about reporting, we've got data now training tomorrow morning, I believe, or tomorrow afternoon. So I'm going to do another order. This one, I'm going to actually start a tab on. So customer starts with a giant pretzel and a glass of cab. So I'm going to start my tab. Add note. So my original example for, you're a manager, table 5 flags you down. They want another glass of wine. How do you find table 5? Or as a server, how do I label my tables? I know my table numbers, but where do I find it? When you're starting a tab, I'm gonna hit cancel really fast. You're starting a tab. I place my order. Instead of doing pay now, which we just went through that transaction flow, I'm going to do start a tab because they're going to be here for a bit. I'm going to start out with their drinks. Maybe we'll get a little bit of an appetizer, do entrees, do some dessert, and maybe some more drinks in between. You're doing that continuous service where you're not just getting everything rang in at once and dropping a check. Where it says add note, you could do the bar. If you're at the bar, you could do the bar guest name. If you're at a table and you're in charge of table 5, you could label it table 5. So if I do table 5, I could then do my card reader option where I'm swiping a card. I'm starting a tab and I have a card on file. So if for some reason I'm concerned that table 5 might, go somewhere, maybe they say, hey, we're going to go to the court at halftime and then we might be back, you might want to get a card on file just in case, but operationally it's at your discretion on how you guys open up these tabs and open up these transactions. But you can swipe the card with the card reader. I don't have a card reader connected, but you would put the card in or swipe the card to get the authorization to start the tab, or to start my tab, I can open it without payment. Open without payment looks just like this, payment pending, with a card with a line in between it. If I had used my Visa, I would see the words Visa, and I would show that there was payment present. So when I look at this, I can see that I started a tab. Maybe I forgot to put my table number on. I could go in and I could say table 5 and hit done. I'm going to go ahead and hit the X here. So I've just added table 5 to it. So you can search for table 5 or I put table 6 apparently. So if I'm looking at this, I could search table 6. See where it says table 6? So managers, you could look table 6. If I had started this with the customer name, I could put in Gilkey, but I didn't. And this is how you can identify your different tables. If you have a ton of closed transactions, I recommend doing this to figure out what table. You can also look by order number as well. So table 6, they want to order their entrees. So if I tap on table 6, I can do add service round. I am brought back to the menu. So they want a wrap, a slider, a hot dog. They really like pretzels, and let's get some Bud Light cherries. I can keep my tab open. My amount will increase, and you'll see the time that it was modified. What I also want to point your attention to is this little cloud here. It is not here for aesthetics, I promise. The filled in check mark is what we are looking for. So if you have a bunch of orders that are taken in offline, so maybe you know that table 7 is a dead zone, and your server goes in and rings something in, but then they just never leave the dead zone. Maybe they find a really good place to hide for a few minutes to check their phone or, get their life together and look at their receipts. Until they get into an area with service, it's not going to sync to the back end. So the order lives on the device, but it has not synced to the back end, which means if they placed an order and they're noticing that their ticket didn't hit the kitchen, they're offline. You want to make sure that they stay online to the best of their abilities. We have a way to handle offline, but if you're thinking about fulfillment, how do you send a transaction back when you don't have connection? So, from a payments perspective, if we're going to hold on to the information, but operationally, if they're noticing that all their clouds are empty, I would make sure that I check with my kitchen and my bar to make sure my tickets came through if you're using Expedite, but you need to get online. The system will auto sync periodically. If you notice throughout this training, there's little glitches that happen where all of a sudden everything starts to shimmer and shake. It's just syncing. You can also try to manually sync it here. Or say that I'm a server, I'm noticing all my little clouds are empty. If I go to my Hamburger menu, you can sync your network data or refresh config. I recommend refresh config first. It kind of wakes the computer back up, or refreshing here. If you sync your network data and you're still offline, it does a good refresh, but you're logged out, and when you log back in, those orders will be missing. You'll have to re-ring those orders back in if that is the case. So you want to try to get online before you log out or refresh config. Now, if you notice that you have orders on there that you've replaced, so you realize that you're offline, you re-ring everything back in, you get all the clouds, but the other ones don't seem to fill in, you can log out and then log back in to get rid of all of that, those orders that never got closed, or not closed, that didn't get synced. But we recommend getting back online first. Use this refresh button, refresh configuration, try to push a connection through so these can get pushed through. It will auto sync, but After a while, if it's not auto syncing, re-ring it back in. You obviously want to make sure the guest service is not compromised. So if Jenna is noticing that her orders are not syncing, it's been about 5 minutes, Jenna should check the kitchen first. Kitchen didn't get it, re-ring it back in. Make sure she gets a cloud. If she gets a cloud and the kitchen gets it and the other order's still there, have her do that refresh, have her log out, log back in. So the customer is now ready to check out. So if I want to close out the order for the customer, I could go to close order. From here, I could do split payment, or I could do cash, mobile wallet, or card reader. So with split payment, sometimes you might get large groups where everyone wants an individual check with what they have. So maybe I want to buy the appetizer, my entree, and my drinks. When you go into split check, there's not a way to segment out what items go on what check. In a separate check, a true separate check situation, I would ring it in as table 6-1, table 6-2. So you understand what seat is what, and you can segment out each order. I know it's not optimal. We do have some enhancements that we are currently vetting on our side to help better that process. However, that is the workaround for a true split check where one person wants only what they ordered and another wants what they ordered. For evenly split checks, or you could do it by 2 or 3 or 4 people. You could do it by percentage, or you could do a custom amount. So if you want one person to pay $50, I can split that check for them to do $50 and then have $58.40 charged on the other card. But really in that case, I would just do it by 2. But if you do have a split check situation where you know that they're gonna not do it evenly, ring it in separately. I'm gonna hit my back here. So we talked about adding on items, opening a check. The last thing I want to show you guys is the detail section. Details will give you the ability to add the service round, close the order, or there's more options. Voiding items and adjusting price require a manager code. It is very deceiving, but follow through this example really fast and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about manager code. I get a lot of questions on this during the webinars, so bear with me for 2 minutes and I promise this will answer the questions that you guys have. So, voiding items. First and foremost, we settle out orders through batch settlement at the end of the night. So technically the order is sent to settlement, but it has not been settled, which is why it's considered a void. The void reasons we currently have been ones that have been recommended to us by a couple of our customers. One is based in Chicago. So if you find that you want to look at visiting the void item options, reach out to your account manager so they can properly give you a better idea on what you can and can't do and the functionality surrounding the list that we have here. Obviously, a comped item is product that was consumed, which on paper would count as a refund. But because the payment has never settled, it's technically considered a void for that reason. But when you mark it as a comped item, you'll at least be able to designate the items that you are backing out. If if you're worried about food costs, obviously, making sure reconciliation is really true to what's been made versus what was accidentally rang in but never made. So you have the ability to do a partial refund. If you notice, all of my Bud Light cherries are now itemized out because you can obviously void off 1 Bud Light cherry versus having to do 4 or the different quantities. So if I accidentally rang in 4 Bud Light cherries, but I really needed to do 2, and the Behringer cab glass was also a mistake. She actually really just wanted food. I can check the boxes of the items that need to be voided. If you notice, they get a green check mark and they also shrink in size. So the items that are selected have the green check mark. Prior to proceeding, I'm going to select my reason. So in this case, I'm going to say I incorrectly ordered it. It was never made. You can also toggle it for the entire order if you want as well. So I'm going to recheck my Behringer and my 2. So it's incorrectly ordered. I checked my items. I'm requesting my void. This is where the manager approval comes in. So in the full service flow, the servers can get you to the point where they need authorization. So I already went in and voided my items. You're approving it as a manager. I'm a manager, and I'm approving what Jenna rang in, or Jenna saying needs to get voided. I'm putting in my authorization code because I have a manager code, and I'm hitting confirm. I also put my code in wrong. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm no longer a manager. I've been demoted. So this is what happens when you've been demoted. You can't do refunds or voids. They must have reset the manager code. So if you reset your codes, then you're not able to access doing a void or refund. So not just anybody could put in their PIN and get it. So if I'm Jenna, the server, I can't just put my PIN in and get a refund. I would have to go in and get a manager to do it with their manager approval. To get the PINs, you do that. It's called the Suites Manager app. Obviously, this is not a suite. You know, this entire demonstration, we've been talking about restaurants and clubs. We call it the Suite Manager app, but it does not mean it's specifically to suites. Concessions, quick service point of sale can use it, full service point of sale, everybody. So if you do get access to the Suite Manager app, just know that it's not going to be just those. Okay, so I put in a different manager code and it got approved. So my order total will now decrease $76.45. So say, go into more options, there's the adjust price option. Say that I actually need to change the price of Bud Light Seltzer to $12, or maybe I need to give it half off because of a guest recovery. I could go in and I could select the item that I want to change price-wise. Notice that I'm changing the price, but look what happens when I hit confirm. I'm showing that it's discounted, but when I go to further confirm it, I still have to get approval. So if I'm Jenna and I don't have the right code, I'm just going to get rejected for the rest of my days and my change won't go through. But if I have my manager here and they use their code, well, now it's been discounted. So when I look at it, my new total is $65.81 and my Bud Light Cherry Seltzer is $5. If you've got two of the same item, it will apply to both. So that Bud Light Cherry Seltzer, even though I picked one, it will discount both. What are more options? So it's the end of Table 6's dining experience at my fancy restaurant. They are ready for their check. If I click on details, I go to more options and view receipt. I can print the receipt to drop at their table. I will select my printer that is on my hip or the printer that is designated to this location. It will give me a successful message if it prints. So then it prints, I drop the check, and now I can close the order. So they hand me payment. I'm standing right there. I could go back in. If you notice, it brought me back to this page after I printed it. I could close my order by swiping their card on the card reader. The one thing that I can't show you guys on this demo, and I do apologize, is the card reader flow. There's not an adapter that I can use to get this to work on my computer. So the next step with the card reader is I select it, it'll show card reader ready. I will then input my card or tap it or Apple Pay it or Zap it. I don't know, they do so many different ways to check out these days. Once I get that chirping noise to confirm that it went through, I'm pulling my card out, it will then take me to the tip screen. So what would happen then is the customer can select the tip amount that they're going to give Jenna, and then they can sign for it. So make sure your servers are aware of that. if they are going to be using the handhelds, that they turn it around, the customer can choose their tip and then sign. Here. For the last 10, or I guess really 9 minutes, I want to highlight some of the settings and troubleshooting with full service point of sale. So we already talked about the order flow. I'm going to go in here and I'm actually going to void my entire order. So my order is completely voided. You'll see it go away in a little bit. When I go to my hamburger menu, we talked about configuration. We've been working in tabs the whole time, which is the main page. I want to talk about the debug information page. If for some reason something were to go wrong with a device of some sort, email help@VenueNext.com. Obviously, if it's urgent, say, hey, this is urgent. Give us a phone number, we'll give you a call. When our phone lines are enabled, you can call us or chat with us, whatever helps give you guys the resolution you need. What we will always, always, always ask for is a picture of the debug page. Debug Info is the page I'm looking for. And I need it. I know things are crazy. I know I've been in the sports and entertainment world, and I understand like 20 minutes is the equivalent to like 3 to 4 hours. So if you can just do us that favor prior to submitting the ticket or during this ticket submission process, take a very clear picture of this page. This tells me everything I need to know about the device. The device ID is basically the ID associated to the device itself. I have a weird UUID right now because I'm on my computer. You will see the device ID populate here. If there is a secondary device ID, so if you're using one of the A930 devices or any of our PAX devices, you will see that too. But all of this information helps me escalate it to the right people, and it helps me begin troubleshooting this and the rest of the team troubleshooting this early on. It takes away about 2 to 3 steps when you send us this page. So when you run into issues, take a clear picture of this page. We need to see all of this. After you take a picture of this page, say, for example, you run into an issue where you've got all of these orders that are not synced to the back end, or maybe there's an order that just did something really weird. Send us the order number. If there is an error message that you see, send us the error message along with that debug page. It helps us look at the order itself. If we have access to your device, we can look at the device. And it also helps us verify that you guys are on the latest and greatest, because if you guys are on a device that might have missed an upgrade, and when we say missed an upgrade, it was offline. And when it came online, it wasn't able to get it for some reason, or maybe somebody denied the upgrade from happening. You will see a question or an exclamation point circled on the top left-hand side of the screen if there is an update available. If you've rejected the update, but the update might fix something that you're seeing, that also helps us understand what could be going on. This is important for us. So even if you are on Promenade and you've got somebody sending you something on event level, have your supervisor take that picture, and even if you just email it separate, we'll know it's related as long as you can say, hey, picture's coming. So you could have somebody on a completely different floor take a picture, email it to help@VenueNext.com, but it'll help us have the ability to bridge that gap. At that point, if you request a call, we can definitely call you. We are never opposed to calling people. And we can at least begin working on those devices. So if you are concerned that, emailing, sending a help request when it's urgent to an email address is not optimal and it's concerning, that help request goes to a live channel where everybody from Anthony, who was our CEO since we've been acquired by Shift4, so the head of VenueNext, all the way to really anybody on our team. our platform developers, infrastructure, implementations, you name it, they can see it. And for my team, it goes to their computers, their phones, their watches, if they have it synced on their watch. If it's my house, then it goes on all the TVs in the middle of a sporting event and my husband freaks out. But it has immediate visualization and our team immediately starts looking at it. So if you get a response that feels like it's automated, especially if it comes within a minute to 2 minutes, we do not have automated responses here at VenueNext. They might seem automated because for consistency purposes, we have the same message that we send, but you can tell that they're not automated for a number of reasons. One of which we'll ask a venue specific question. We don't have robots. We don't sub out any of our support. Everybody is local. Everybody's in front of our product and everybody is well-versed on the product. So just know if you do get any kind of response that feels like it's canned, it's not. It's somebody responding to let you know that we see it, but on the back end, they have now probably at this point sent out about 10 to 15 messages to 10 to 15 or 2 to 3 different people, depending, with all of the information that you've provided, and they're working on resolution. And if you ask for that phone call, that same person that responded to you, if not somebody else, will then give you a call and say, hey, this is where we're at, and check back in with you and make sure that you're okay. So we take support very serious here. So I know, like I said, an email address might seem concerning. Once we get our phone lines working in the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to call that number. But just know that if you do write in an email leading up to that point, it is a human response. So we are working on it. Other than that, all of this is being recorded. You will see an email go out by end of today with links to all of the webinars from this past month as well as today's. You will also get some information from us in a follow-up email with just different support documents. One thing I do request from all of you guys at some point, if you go to your Canopy accounts ever, and you're doing menu development, I highly, highly recommend taking a look in Canopy. So in Canopy, if you see the word support here, when you click on this, it brings you to the support knowledge base. Our knowledge base is full of rich information from menu development for food and beverage to full service, quick service, and event catering POS. So if I go to full service POS here, there are tons of documents that can help you guys with training or navigating certain issues. If there's a document in here that you think would benefit or something that you don't see, shoot us a note. We love making documents. We'll make documents for days if it helps you guys. So if you want a one-sheeter to just talk through certain things, maybe it's for training or for supervisors, we can definitely help with that. But our knowledge base is really a great resource, especially if you're just learning our products or starting out. It highlights troubleshooting. You could search anything from full service menu to what you're trying to solve. And then unlike what you see on my page currently, you would see an ability to submit a request. Submit a request also opens up a ticket. And eventually you'll see a chat feature pop up on this page as well. So if you're building out a menu in Canopy and you're like, I'm stuck, if you hit support, you'll see a little chat pop up here when chat's open, which we have 24/7 support, and you'll be able to chat with a help desk representative to at least get you what you need for what you're working on. If it needs to get escalated further, we then open a ticket and start a process different. But I definitely advise everyone take a look at our help center. We've got a lot of information in here that really will benefit you guys, as well as the webinars too. Other than that, I will go ahead and wrap up for today. Thank you everybody for joining full service point of sale training. After this training, if you do have questions at any point, do not hesitate to reach out to your account managers or reach out to help@VenueNext.com. Say, hey, Jacqueline, I was just on your training. This is my question. And I will happily respond and get you the information you need. If you need more training, just say, hey, yeah, I have, a need for more training, and we'll set that up. I do